Get this headline. My favorite CIA outlet, Vice News, came up with this headline. This is from July 18th. It says, cops opened fire into a crowd because they thought someone had a gun. Now, notice what that headline doesn't say. It doesn't say because someone had a gun and was shooting at the cops. It says the cops opened fire into a crowd because they thought that someone had a gun. They didn't think someone was shooting.
Is that best practice?
I don't know if this is best practice, Kurt. Police injured 5 people. Police injured 5 people when they opened fire on a crowd in Denver's Lively Entertainment District after they claim a man pulled a gun from his waistband and pointed it at him. The police shot into the crowd at 1:30 a.m. Sunday morning, soon after showing up to deal with the group arguing in front of a bar. I tell you, when you call the cops, that's when the real violence starts. That's when the real violence starts. As soon as the cops show up, and then all of a sudden, think mayhem. A witness then described to Denver 7 News seeing the cops randomly shoot into a crowd of people. How did the Uvalde cops get there so quickly? Another witness said he didn't see the suspect with a firearm. It was definitely a little traumatic to see that go down, to see police just randomly shooting into a crowd of people.
There's no way they're trained to do that. I mean, there's not a possibility that that's in the best practice book.
Well, if your top job, as Barack Obama said incorrectly, that a cop's number one job is to make sure he comes home safe at night, well, then that makes sense. Because you get scared, just start shooting randomly. If your job is to protect yourself and not the citizenry, then you just start doing it great. You start shooting randomly into a crowd. Because your job isn't to protect them. Your job is to protect yourself. Well, that's not a cop's job. A cop's number one job is not to make sure he gets home safe at night. That's my job. To make sure I get home safe. If you want to be a cop and have a gun and have a monopoly on violence where you can brutalize people and shoot them and never be held accountable, at least you have to risk your life once in a while. You have to try to save other people.
Maybe let the guy shoot so you know the crowd is in danger anyway before you start being the only one killing the innocent people.
Maybe. I heard maybe 6 or 7 shots. I looked to my left and I saw a girl who was hit on the thigh, and it hit an artery, and she was gushing out blood. Cops. I can attest that there was no one else who shot a gun but Denver police. I saw them draw their guns. They didn't assess the situation, and they just shot people. The cops.
I just want to point out that Kyle Rittenhouse tried to disengage and then only hit the people attacking him and no one else. Like,
ironic,
isn't it? They should recruit that kid.
Police say they saw the suspect point a firearm at them, however. Oh, really? But he didn't shoot it.
There's more to this story. They didn't issue any warnings. Like, that almost sounds like a hit squad. Like, there's the guy, get him.
So the cops say they saw a guy with a gun, even though they didn't shoot it. He didn't shoot it. So even if you see a guy with a gun, does that justify the cops shooting into a crowd of people? The answer would be no.
Yeah, right.
Even if you saw a guy with, hey, there's a guy with a gun inside that school bus, just start shooting inside that bus randomly. Randomly. They weren't shooting at the person. They were shooting into a crowd.
Like I'm on The Simpsons or something.
A witness told the Denver Post they didn't see the suspect holding a weapon or hear any warnings issued by the officers. Sounds like cops just snapped. Maybe they're on, because lots of cops are on steroids. We know this, and it makes you snap.
To not even say drop the gun before you do it, that seems like some sinister thing that they're just making the story up now.
Right? In a probable cause statement released on Sunday night, Denver Police Department said that police first came into contact with the suspect during an argument between 2 men outside a bar. Cops said the suspect lifted up his hoodie as though he was armed with a handgun. As though.
I don't.
What? Police say they approached the man and he walked away, but then say they saw him reaching into his waistband or pocket. So you didn't really know what you were seeing. So you weren't sure what you were seeing. You didn't see a gun. You didn't
shoot first and ask questions later. Is literally their policy.
So they saw him reaching into his waistband or pocket, which was consistent motion with pulling out a firearm.
That's
but we don't know if he
ridiculous.
pulled out a firearm. The officer interviewed for the statement said he was in fear for his life. Cops are in fear for their life when they wake up in the morning. They're in fear for their life the moment they leave their house. They're in fear for their life. That goes without saying. The most jumpy, fucking scared people in the world are cops. We know that. They're always in fear for their life. So 3 officers opened fire into the crowd because they were in fear for their life, because they said they thought the guy maybe looked like he grabbed a gun. And so they just opened fire into a crowd of people because they feared for their life.
Well, how much you want to bet the one moron that opened first, the other 2 just followed his lead and just started firing where he fired?
That's what you would think gang members would do.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
That's what you would think gang members would do if they thought they would just start shooting into a crowd without any regard for human life. No, that's what the cops do. The document does not indicate it was the police who fired the shots. But the department confirmed 3 officers discharged their weapons. So the statement doesn't say the cops were the ones responsible for shooting those people. But they did discharge their weapons. In the documents, the unnamed officer, they don't even tell you which cops did it. The unnamed officer said he saw the suspect throw the weapon to the ground after being shot.
So they got him.
Yeah, they got him. Police reported seeing Waddy throw the firearm on the ground, and they found a 10-millimeter handgun at the scene with 1 round in the chamber and 7 in the magazine, according to the probable cause statement. How many bullets fit in a 9-millimeter handgun? Is it 8?
I don't know. All I know is definitely not planted, and he threw it down just as they said.
Hey, Suri, how many bullets are in a 9-millimeter handgun? Okay, none of these tell me. It can hold anywhere from 6 to 18 cartridges. That's what
Can they
that's.
either not be so jumpy or learn to shoot straight? Can we have one of those things?
Another witness who saw the cops firing upon the crowd told the Denver Post, "I'm pretty sure we would have been shot had we been standing in the wrong spot." The suspect did not fire on police. The suspect did not fire on police. He has yet to be charged, but was arrested on menacing and weapons possession. So he didn't do anything. They don't even got him on anything except a weapons charge. The 3 officers who fired on the crowd have been put on leave. They're not arrested. And their names haven't even been released. This was the 3rd shooting by Denver police in 5 days, including shootings on Wednesday and Friday that killed a man police say shot at them and the suspect in a domestic violence stabbing, respectively. Denver Police Department probable cause statement never describes officers shooting anyone. So he got it, and he read it, and they never say that the cop shot anyone, even though the cop shot everyone.
What? This is probably that wild, crazy gun from the Alec Baldwin set. It
Yes,
must have made its way to Denver.
That
And
fires
this
without
wild
being...
gun went off.
The gun allegedly pointed at them. Then officer heard 4 to 6 gunshots and observed Waddy fall to the ground. Police then render aid to Waddy and several other victims who were injured during the shooting. At no point do they say that it was the cops that shot those people. That's the cops. That's the cops. Investigators struggled to confirm an accurate number of victims because some of the victims transported themselves to various hospitals. And get this. And when they transported themselves to various hospitals, they mixed in with victims from other shootings. Is there anything more uniquely American than that fucking story? We don't know how many people got shot because when they went to the hospital, they got mixed in with the other people got shot at the other thing.
Look, in the force, they train us to shoot 4 people for every 1 cop. So we couldn't get to all of them. Some got to take themselves to the hospital.
So it seems like anytime you read a story about cops being involved in something like this, the cops are lying all the way through. Just like in Uvalde, and they're non-cooperative, and they're doing everything to protect them, even though they won't do anything to protect you. That's the state of policing in America now. They're bullies who fuck with you, but they won't do anything to try to save you when the time comes. Sacramento, back here in Los Angeles, Bakersfield, Indianapolis, Louisville, Cincinnati, Tulsa, Oklahoma City. Go to JimmyDoreComedy.com for a link for all the tickets for all our shows.